Bismillah. Sorry, I don't know what happened to the first stream. If there are any questions, we'll try to take some now. Bi'idhnillah, by Allah's permission. First question is coming from Hanover, Germany. Initials are and best way to study Islam properly as a woman. Good universities, etc. In brief, the way for a woman to study is going to be similar to a way that a man has to study. By locking down the fundamentals of knowledge, usul, and gradually, slowly building your way up, maintaining your pace and your speed to going into the furu' branches of knowledge. And usul apply to people, times, and places. This place is asl. This teacher is asl. This book is an asl. This science is an asl. Lock that down first. And that's going to be for men and for women. As far as specifics, of course, we have the issue of women traveling. And of course, the world, much of it has changed. COVID, Corona, right? Many things are online now, and Allah knows best. With the vaccination, with restrictions being lightened up, etc., I think many things may stay to be virtual and long distance. So traveling is going to be different now. All right, we've done different lectures on this, on how to systematically study knowledge, and we currently have programs that we're running, courses that we're doing on systematically studying for men and for women. So check that out, inshallah. Guys, please lower your gaze. All right. This poor plant. May Allah make it easy. I mean, lower your gaze, okay? Inshallah, you can turn away from that. May Allah help the plant. All right, next question comes from Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City. Some call it Chirac. ZH. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taqabbal Allah minna wa minkum. When the student of knowledge begins studying books of Sunni. Well, you should always read them. As long as you can read Arabic, read them. Studying them is different. If you've studied a few small books on Hadith, Bulugh al-Maram, Ahkam, Mukhtasar, Muharrar, smaller versions, even in a university, courses on Fiqh Sunnah, Fiqh Hadith. You've taken the basics of Ilm al-Rijal, Takhrij, Mustalah, Kutub al-Shuruh, not the books, but the actual explanation of Hadith. Then you crack it open. And you don't have to study it in detail, master it in detail, but you start reading it and going back to the source. All right? So if you read in Bulugh al-Maram that the hadith is collected by Abu Dawood, now you, as a talib ilm, go back to actual Abu Dawood, the masdar itself. And you read Imam Abu Dawood, Hadathana, Fulan, 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 an Anas, Qala Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nothing stops you from doing that. You don't have to be a master of hadith sciences to do that. All right? Inshallah, and Allah knows best. Next question says, GW from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Can a Muslim read from Stoics? I'm not sure exactly what that is. Please explain. RM Hanover, Germany. Is it appropriate for women to do the same work as you do publicly, being on YouTube? That's a very interesting question. Sometimes I would say yes. A woman speaking on YouTube, in some circumstances and situations, I would say yes. And in other circumstances and situations, I would say no. One of those different circumstances or situations is how you're covered. But we have to be realistic, guys. A woman's hijab, of course, is a reflection of her and her Islam, understanding and practice. And if she dresses this way normally, she's going to dress that way when she's on YouTube. So people, they think that, oh, she's uncovered, she's talking. That's how she dresses. She doesn't cover this way or that way. That's how she dresses. And if a woman wears the niqab or doesn't wear the niqab, she wears this type of hijab, gloves, that's how she's going to dress on YouTube. So that which is best, sunnah, that which is most modest, Of course, the more hijab, the better the hijab, the more covering the hijab is. And if you're fully covered and you're speaking on YouTube, then me personally, I would approve of that more, and I would endorse that more than a woman who's speaking on YouTube who isn't dressed the most modest or modestly or fully covered, etc. All right, but it depends on who's speaking, who's your audience. All right, so for argument's sake, a sister has a YouTube channel and she has on the niqab and gloves or burqa or whatever. Her face is covered, everything's covered. You can barely see her eyes or just her eyes. That's one thing. Versus makeup, tight clothes, tight hijab, different story. All right, a woman speaking and she's keeping her composure, her calmness. She's speaking objectively versus a woman, she's on YouTube talking about Islam, oh, such and such and such and such, and you know, I just such and such, and she's like this, oh, and such, and you know, such, and oh my God, such and such, smiling, laughing, such and such. There's a huge difference between a woman. I'm not saying she has to be a robot. I'm not saying that she has to be a mechanical droid. But you're keeping your calmness, your composure, and your haya, talking about Islam, versus a woman who's talking like she's among five other women, and she's laughing and joking and smiling. It's a huge difference. All right? Many speakers, sheikhs or whatever, who talk about women talking and women not talking, they don't mention this dabit. This dabit muhim jiddan, how you talk. And of course, men, they have to keep their etiquette on YouTube as well. You're not going to see me on YouTube how I dress in my house, how I go to sleep, how I wake up. You're not going to see me on YouTube with basketball shorts on and a tank top, whether I have muscles or not. You're not going to see me on YouTube wearing some skinny pants. You're not going to see me on YouTube laughing and joking and cracking up. You're not going to, that's inappropriate. If you're doing channels about basketball or about how to make this fish net or how to work out or how to do this or how to make this life hack, that's different. It's different. And that's fine. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're talking about Islam, Quran, Sunnah, Allah, His Messenger, halal, haram, then you have to maintain a certain type of respect and composure. And from that, as a woman's body, her voice, laughing, joking, etc. Number 3, with regards to a woman talking on YouTube and publicly speaking, social media, etc., the same applies to a man. Make sure that what you're talking about is valid and sound. Make sure that you're talking about Allah and His Messenger. Authentic hadith. Make sure you have the proper understanding of those hadith. And make sure you're not being used or employed to push some type of agenda, whether it's chauvinistic, feminist, whatever agenda. Make your agenda be Quran and Sunnah. Kitab and Sunnah. Quran and hadith. Make your agenda be enlightening the people, teaching the people, spreading the ilm nafi', and no other type of nonsense. And of course, that applies to men as well. Women are no different with regards to that, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. Many women, they think because they're talking and because they're speaking, it's their job and their duty to further push this and to further that, etc. All right? And of course, there are different levels with talking, a woman speaking, talking in front of men. And many ulama have given the fatwa that it's permissible for a woman to give da'wah and a woman to speak and to talk, as long as she's abiding by the rules. And Allah Azza wa Jal surely knows best. If you choose to do that, may Allah give you the strength. And know for sure that you're feeling a major void. And Allah knows best. Next question says, from Alexandria, Virginia. Initials. Next question, SR from Ottawa, Ontario. Are there any hadith regarding PTSD? Of course. Okay, hadiths that talk about sadness and grief. Hadiths that talk about sadness and grief, for sure. Many of them. Next question. Initials RD from Toronto, Ontario. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah preserve you. I recently read the hadith in Tirmidhi which states the image is the head. If the head is cut off, there is no image. Part 2. Can you explain this hadith? This hadith, or this narration, all right, with regards to the taking off the head of an image. If the head is missing, if it's severed and separated, no face, etc., then it doesn't necessarily fall under the prohibition of a surah of a living thing. Right? That's what the hadith is talking about in brief. And the different rulings pertaining to a surah. And what's meant by a surah? Is it a 2D image, 3D image, something that you write, you draw, you sketch, you etch, all right? You sculpt or capturing an image, etc. And Allah knows best. That's in brief. طيب. أسد حياك الله بارك الله فيك وفقك أنت في مصر صح؟ كيف أحوالك أنت طيب؟ إن شاء الله بارك الله فيك ووفقك وعانك في طلبك أمين. MD from Jaipur. Mention where you're coming from, please. Jazakallah khairan. DH, West Midlands, UK. Salam alaikum. May Allah bless you. The sports games and the rules that are in it, are they included within ruling by other than Allah has revealed? For example, in football, there is red card instead of qisas. If that was the case, then what is the ruling on those who work in it, engage in it, and approve of it, likewise the judge makers? Well, sports are not religion. Sports are not affairs of state. It's not a courthouse. It's not pertaining to marriage, divorce, blood, honor, property, punishment, penal code. All right? وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. That's dunya. That's totally dunya. That's totally secular. It has nothing to do with religion. All right? That's number one. Number two is, what legislation is there in soccer or football from Quran and Sunnah? This is different. It's not the same concept. All right? Allah knows best. Next question states, SD, Palembang, Indonesia. Is it obligatory to look on sujood area while salah? When you're standing, you stand as the Prophet ﷺ stood. And you have khushu'. Whether that khushu' is to look down at the place of sujood, or whether that khushu' is to close your eyes, or whether that khushu' is to look straight towards the qibla, make sure that you have the khushu'. That's what's obligatory in the prayer. And Allah surely knows best. And you avoid any distractions for your eyes. That is what is obligatory. RM, Hanover, Germany. How to be a student of knowledge and earn money at the same time. We've done classes on that from a very long time. Asad from Toronto. Next question. MN, Alexandria, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. Is it recommended to make mixed up days of Ramadan and Shawwal? We explained that in detail. In Alexandria, Virginia, Mufti is recommended to, Sheikh. TA, Ripon, California, USA. Salam. What is the rule on graduation ceremonies? As you know, there is free mixing music and the likes. Question sounds like an answer. Next question. Taro Kaba from Guinea. Next question. GW, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Is it okay to read different books, different philosophical books? Depends on the book. Depends on the reader of the book. Depends on the purpose of you reading the book and how much you already know, right? Tayyib, MD, Jaipur, India. I want to buy tafsir books, but they are too costly in India. So can I buy the ones sold by locals who print it and sell it at a cheaper price than the actual publisher without permission? Khair, inshallah. It depends on the copyright of the book. If there's a copyright and they aren't allowed to do that, then it can be a problem. All right? But one may say, I'm not buying it for commercial means. I'm buying it to benefit, to learn. But the people you're buying it from, they are selling it for commercial means. So in reality, you're supporting them to do wrong to the authors and the printing houses and the publishers who spend years and thousands of dollars working on books, writing books, printing books. So that's an issue with regards to the copyright. If you can't obtain a free copy, write to the publishing house, send them a letter, call them, try your best, reach out to them, tell them that you're a student of knowledge, you don't have a lot of money, it's very costly. Maybe they'll give you permission to get a printed copy. Maybe they'll send you a copy, okay? Maybe they'll work something out for you. Try your best. If that doesn't work, and there's no other way, and you need the books as a student of knowledge, fare Allah the best way you can by purchasing at a cheaper price. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Question to AR from Brooklyn, Oakland. Says, a sister could not fast on Ramadan. She has illness lifelong and she did not give fidya. Can she give money to a community that feeds the poor in the amount specified for 50 or 30 days? Inshallah, there's nothing wrong with delegating to someone else as long as you tell them what it's for, who the fidya is for, and what it's for. Inshallah. Right, next question. BF from Queens, New York. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Eid Mubarak. Do I have to repeat the evening adhkar for myself after I recite it with my youngest kids so they can do it themselves? Hopefully that's enough for both of you, inshallah ta'ala. You say it with the intention for yourself, but at the same time teaching your child. And Allah knows best. RM, Hanover, Germany. Is it better to fast every day and Thursday or every second day? Is it better to fast every Monday and Thursday or every second day? Well, the Prophet tells us the best fast is the fast of Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam. Fast a day, break a day. If you have that stamina. And if not, fasting twice a week is excellent. All right? Do what you have the ability to do, that which is best for your life and your schedule. You have to learn how to prioritize and how to manage your ibadah. Wallahu alam. All right. TA, Ripon, California, USA. With regards to the graduation, are there any tips you can give me to avoid that which displeases Allah? Avoid that which displeases Allah. It's that simple. If there's these things that you've mentioned, don't go. If it's your graduation, don't go. Don't walk. Just get the certificate. If you're going for someone else, it depends on the situation. If it's haram, if it's disobeying Allah, don't participate. You're not forced to participate in that. All right? And Allah knows best. Right. All right. Let's move forward. GW, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Is marrying divorcees considered sunnah? It depends. What you mean by sunnah? The Prophet's way. He married women that were divorced intentionally, or that was what Allah had gave him and sent his way. The general concept is what the Prophet did. All of the Prophet's wives were like this, like that, except for Aisha, except for Sophia, etc., etc. Know a lot about that. And if you're doing that just because the Prophet did it, or if you're doing it to help those women out, or to bond families and communities and tribes and cultures together, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, you get the reward of sunnah one way or another, sunnah ada or sunnah mutlaqa. And Allah knows best. Question comes from initials SH from Kerala, India. What's a good starter book on building a roadmap for Deen studies? Beginner. Jazakallah khairan. We've devoted classes just to this. And we have explained books on this. All right? On the channel, on the playlist, the knowledge playlist, you can find, alhamdulillah, without bragging, multitude of explanation of books on how to seek knowledge correctly, systematically, as a beginner. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. We'll stop here tonight. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you very much. Hopefully you guys will join us on the 27th of May. That's a Thursday, the last Thursday of this month at 9:30 p.m. Barakallahu fikum. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all success.